SJ had even been offered a £155,000 record deal.
Damn, 150 bands waiting for him, and he's fighting the case, bro. That's tough. Yo, too, we back with the main boy. Do a hit the reaction list. We got the Deadly Divide in Tottenham, OFB versus NPK. Now I've been seeing this beef in a lot of these videos, you know, the disses, replies, and stuff like that. So we gonna get right into it. Make sure you watch the whole video through for me, man. I appreciate the love y'all been showing me. And just know, we dropping daily, y'all. Let's get it. Let's get it. What's going on? Oh, all right. My fault. Yeah, we are here with it. Okay. Shout out Kid Nerd for the video.
Throughout the rise of UK drill, we've seen many artists and groups' relationships crash and burn, but not many has been as infamous and televised than two groups in a North London town called Tottenham. Today, we'll be looking into the rise of war between two drill groups called NPK and OFB, and how their friendship turned into eventual tragedy. Let's get into it.
Wait, they were friends at first? That's crazy. Okay.
Guys, before I get into this video, I just want to say a quick message to a lot of the young youth who live inside and outside of London who may be watching. I know a lot of young kids who watch these videos may find themselves in similar situations as people in this video or videos that I've done in the past. And I just want to quickly say before I get into any of this that this life is not the way forward.
Hey, he's not lying though, that's facts, man. If you can, stay out the way. Stay out the way, get your money, bro. Don't try to get into the streets, but only some people gonna listen for real. Only a few gonna listen.
I've been up a very long time. Wonder why they hate on me. I don't wanna love myself. I'm praying that you don't love me.
Kids growing up, especially in London, are getting involved in gangs without even knowing it until it's too late. But luckily, we live in a time where there's a lot of support for young kids.
Exactly.
To see themselves creep into this lifestyle. Whether it's mental health support you need, rehousing, mentoring, or financial support, reach out to my Instagram in the description, and I'll do my best to lead you into the numerous programs and charities who work hard to help people make a new life for themselves. Because at the end of the day, there's not much possibilities out of this life except death or jail. Now let's get into the video.
Hey, W Kid Nerd for that, man. You listen, the youngest need to hear that type of message for real. W Kid Nerd.
Before, we're taking this story to the North London town of Tottenham. Now, Tottenham is infamous for many reasons. It's bred some of the biggest artists in the UK, stemming from global pop stars like Adele and major grime artists such as Skepta and Chip, and now big drill artists like Heady One and Abracadabra. In the last few decades, Tottenham has also been notable for a lot of violence and crime. Infamously, the area of Tottenham has been known for igniting big uprisings, like the Broadwater Farm riots in 1985 and the London 2011 riots, which put the country into a national lockdown, which is a topic for another video. But also,
I never knew any of this. This is crazy.
So a lot
learning new stuff about you, about London.
Especially in recent years. See, Tottenham is a big area spanning across two different postcodes, N15 and N17, with many different estates and cliques. But today we'll be focusing on the N17 side of the town, which is a side more notorious for violence than the other. So let's take it back to the 1970s to a big housing estate inside Tottenham.
He going back.
Inside this estate, the formation of a group called the Tottenham Mandem was created. The Tottenham Mandem throughout the 70s to the 90s built up a big reputation for violence across London. They were big players in the London drug market and notoriously had many deadly feuds with other groups across London.
Bro, this shit go way back. That's so crazy to think about. Like
where
the 70s.
Police ranked the Tottenham Mandem as the second highest group in London's organised crime network, and the group spread their influence all throughout Tottenham, with members all over the town. Then in the early 2000s, divides inside the group caused members to disband, which resulted in several different offshoot groups who started repping their specific estates or sections of Tottenham. One of these areas being in the Broadwater Farm estate, which was the original area of the Tottenham Mandem, and another was an area located less than 10 minutes away called Northumberland Park. Members of the Tottenham Mandem from Broadwater Farm started rolling rolling with the name Star Gang, now known as OFB, and members from Northumberland Park started calling themselves NPK. For the most part, NPK and OFB members had a relatively good relationship, with them both having the same enemies being two nearby areas called Wood Green and Edmonton, who Tottenham have been feuding with for a while now. The feud between Tottenham and the two local areas started to be more known when UK rap music started getting platformed on several YouTube channels.
I always say this, how it's crazy that people will be beefing within the same area. Like, they're not even that far from each other. Like, 10 minutes is crazy. You're beefing with them.
Like Limitless Vids and Pac-Man TV. A few NPK members like Stretch and Starts, and OFB members like Heady One and RV started hopping on tracks together, cementing their relationship in the public eye. OFB members dropped tracks like Youngers from Farm, which was making noise all over North London. But summertime 2010, an OFB member called Young RV dropped a big tune called Cruddy on the Streets, which really put a spotlight on OFB as a whole. An NPK rapper called Stretch was also putting on for Tottenham musically, dropping tracks at Sky.
That t-shirt was crazy. I was in my head, but I didn't want to go back, but I have to. That shirt is so crazy. Nigga said, really I've never seen a Nike shirt that said these guns are loaded. That's insane.
Spotlight on OFB as a whole. An NPK rapper called Stretch was also putting on for Tottenham musically, dropping tracks at Sky Style and Thanks Mummy. Stretch and RV were actually quite close friends, but in a situation in 2011, Stretch was stabbed by members from the nearby area Wood Green. Allegedly, RV was with him when it happened, but ended up running away, leaving Stretch to have a deep hatred for RV and other OFB members. Stretch addressed the situation on a track called You're Not Cruddy on the Streets, which was a direct diss record to RV, which left both sides to have a bit of a shaky relationship. For the next few years, both sides weren't generally the closest. Until
it makes sense though, nigga left him there. I get it. I guess I get it. That's
the late 2010s when
left
the
him for
new
dead.
generation of Tottenham were coming up. Kids from both Northumberland Park and Broadwater Farm grew up together through school and playing out, and a lot of families crossed between both areas. And despite the past issues between the two parts of Tottenham, the next generation of kids managed to maintain their tight relationship.
Okay.
After they started claiming their area's gang. In 2017 to 18, a lot of the spotlight from the UK drill scene was on Tottenham. A few NPK members called GP, Unks and KK started going up in music, calling themselves Sin Squad, hitting millions of views on some of their tracks. RV from OFB had not long come out of jail for a 2012 stabbing case, and him and another OFB rapper called Heady One started hopping on tracks together, creating one of the most legendary duos to come from UK drill.
Legendary duo? Okay, I might have to check them out. I ain't gonna lie. Okay.
In early 2018, the younger members from OFB started trying their luck on drill beats. A few of the younger members jumped on a track with an older OFB member called Cash, and the song done decent numbers, considering it was a first track for many of the rappers on the tune. But throughout the year of 2018, the younger members started jumping in the booth more and more, especially three OFB members who went by the name Double L's, SJ and Bando K. They started dropping music consistently, creating a big buzz in the UK. On the back of their success, younger members from NPK also started hopping in the booth, but weren't taking it as serious as OFB, so they weren't releasing much. A lot of their tunes started getting leaked online and posted on YouTube, creating a big underground fan for the group. These times a lot was going on in North London, and 2018 proved to be a deadly year for Tottenham.
Hey, 2018 is like SoundCloud era, right? Like 2017, 2018. So that makes a lot of sense for real.
And surrounding areas, with back-to-back shootings, stabbings and murders occurring throughout the year, mainly between the areas of Wood Green and Tottenham. And unfortunately, this constant back-to-back violence around the towns eventually ended up being MPK's and OFB's downfall. It all started on February the 22nd, 2019. The night before this day, a group of boys had drove and parked a Peugeot car inside the Broadwater Farm estate, which would become a meeting point the following day for several OFB and MPK rappers. The next day around 7 PM, a group of 7 OFB and MPK younger members and rappers set off on bikes armed with a handgun, shotgun, swords and machetes.
Swords and machetes, yo, y'all got some crazy weapons.
In the area Wood Green. When the group reached a street called Lordship Lane in Wood Green, scene, they spotted 4 guys who they believed to be part of the Wood Green gang. Once the group locked onto them, they dropped their bicycles and brought out their weapons and started to pursue the 4 members, with one of the shots narrowly missing the woman who was in a nearby store. The Wood Green members started running into different directions to try and get away, so the Tottenham group got back on their bicycles to try and catch up with one of the victims who was falling behind the rest. They managed to catch up and corner a 20-year-old man, then proceeded to stab him 8 times in total, and
8 times?
Shooting him once in full sight of members of the public. But the attack was interrupted when one of the victims, called Kamali, managed to retrieve his car and attempt to drive it into the attackers to save his friend. But once the group saw Kamali in his car driving towards them, they turned their attention towards him, circling his car attempting to smash his windows to get him out. While he was stuck between 2 cars trying to reverse out, Kamali eventually ditched his car to try and run into a hairdresser's which was nearby. Once he got into the shop, he tried to barricade himself inside, but the attackers managed to force themselves in, resulting in Kamali being struck several times.
But it sounds like a movie, bro. Like, what? It sounds like a movie scene.
Terrible state on the scene. Afterwards, the group rode their bicycles back to the Broadwater Farm estate and changed into clothes which they left in the car they parked off the day before and rode away. Sadly, Kamali didn't make it, and his death was announced the following morning. In the next few months, one by one, each attacker was getting arrested and remanded, at a time when the OFB were reaching the highest numbers in the UK drill scene. 2 days before this attack on Kamali, SJ from OFB alongside 2 other OFB members released their biggest tune yet.
23 mil? Okay. Yeah, we gotta tune into that.
Real for SJ after he was getting investigated for allegedly being on the scene on the day. During this time, SJ started hitting the booth heavily, dropping some big tracks, building his name to be probably one of the biggest drill artists out at the time. But a couple months later, the tragedy of K1 caught up to SJ in the worst type of way. SJ alongside other OFB members were invited to a freestyle session hosted by the well-established DJ called Tim Westwood on a series called Crib Sessions, which in 2019 was one of the biggest platforms for UK drill artists to go on. So it was a big statement that OFB was invited to go. But in one of the most unfortunate turn of events, halfway through the Crib Session, SJ got a call from the police to inform him that he was wanted for the murder of Kamali.
Oh, nah, imagine that, bro.
And that he was to hand himself over to police immediately. You can even see halfway through the freestyle, SJ's mood starts to change, realizing that this may be his last day of freedom for a very long time. Not long after the Crib session, SJ hands himself in, and now with 5 out of the 7 suspected attackers locked up, awaiting trial for the murder of Kamali. It wasn't long before there started being issues between both OFB and NPK.
Hey, that nigga should have ran away to Kenya like my nigga suspect.
Members in jail regarding the case. Quite early on, there was rumors circulating that one of the NPK members who was on the case, who goes by the name of Osav, was starting to snitch on the situation. Allegedly,
whoa, he just snitched? He's a rat?
On the case, who goes by the name of Osav, was starting to snitch on the situation,
hey,
allegedly implicating other members in the murder. A few OFB members had stuff to say about it on Snapchat, building tensions and situations between NPK and OFB inside and outside of jail. On October the 8th, 2019, the trial officially started and the tension was high in the courtroom. Several teenagers who hadn't even started their lives properly yet was looking at going to prison for the best parts of their life, and emotions were high in the court. Not too long before the start of the trial, SJ had even been offered a £155,000 record deal.
Damn, 150 bands waiting for him, and he's fighting the case, bro. That's tough.
Saying that if he managed to beat this case, there was another life waiting for him on the other side. But the trial didn't go well, and it wasn't long till the jury handed their guilty verdict for all the 5 young men. At the sentencing, all hell broke loose. NPK members and SJ started to fight and yell abuse to each other in the courtroom.
In the courtroom? Nah, I ain't gonna lie, they on different timing. In the courtroom, bro? Nah.
The judge. And when they were all sentenced to between 21 to 28 years each, the room turned into chaos. Chairs and other bits of furniture started to get thrown into the docks, and all the defendants started to get separated after repeated violence between each other. One of the defendants' stepdads even leaped from the stands and started to threaten the judge, screaming that he will murder him after the sentence was announced. The tension continued outside the courtroom when families and friends of the 5 defendants started to argue outside. Not long after, SJ and other OFB members took to Snapchat to say their side of the story, labeling the NPK members as snitches on the case, which overall was the real start of the break-off between both NPK and OFB.
Now it makes sense. So I can see why. Like, they're snitching on them, bro. It's over, bro. Like, I mean, we snitch, bro. It's over. I ain't gonna lie. Like, all that shit dead. All that we together, nah, it's dead. All that.
And members on both sides were making this publicly known through social media. But soon after the sentencing, on the 19th of February 2020, stuff started getting physical between both sides. 3 OFB and NPK members bumped into each other at a local barbershop, which ended with 2 OFB members being stabbed and slashed multiple times.
Damn.
A CCTV video of the situation leaked, which was posted all around social media.
And the barbershop is wild.
To what was happening on the streets of Tottenham. On the music side, while SJ was locked up, more new rappers started coming out of OFB, releasing tunes off the back of the success of other OFB rappers. One of these being an OFB member who went by the name of Ispot. He blew up from a single he released called 3S, and after a couple more big songs he dropped throughout the year. A lot of fans were saying soon he could hit the same level as SJ, but in September of 2020, the ongoing feud between NPK and OFB caught up to him. Ispot was on his way home from college on the train, but when the train hit a station called Meridian Water in Edmonton, 3 alleged NPK members spotted Ispot sitting near the window on the train. In front of shocked onlookers, the 3 NPK members proceeded to stab Ispot multiple times.
Wait, so he was in the gang in college? That's crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Striking mainly his lower back and face. One of the strikes actually ended up hitting one of his eyes, damaging his vision, but thankfully Ispot survived the attack. 3 NPK
he survived. Okay.
After CCTV footage caught them in the act. During these times, OFB and NPK were taking shots at each other on drill songs. OFB rapper Bando K dropped a song called Patient, which had several disses aimed at NPK. A couple NPK rappers also dropped a song in early 2021 called Exposing Ops 2.0.
Damn, that nigga got 5 mil. This nigga got 46. I see he was up in this shit. I ain't gonna lie. I see he was up.
They actually filmed part of this track on the OFB's block, the Broadwater Farm Estate.
Oh, that's OD. That's OD.
Around 10 minutes away from OFB's block was also starting to get some attention in the drill scene called TPL. They dropped a track called Philly Don't Dance, which had multiple disses towards OFB. TPL and NPK actually started linking up and eventually filmed a music video together for a track which featured both groups called Hitcock 45. They filmed this video outside Turnpike Lane train station in the M15 postcode, and many members from each side started posting the location of the music video on Snapchat and other social media. After the shoot was done, a few members were still posted outside the train station.
And they got shot up and they probably got stabbed or chinged up. Come on, I already know the vibes.
3 shots were fired into the crowd of boys around
I knew it.
PM, with shots hitting a 20-year-old TPL member who went by the name of Showerman, sadly killing him on the scene. The same day, NPK's area in Northumberland Park, Tottenham, was also shot up with a young man being shot multiple times.
But this is the area. This area looks amazing, bro. I ain't gonna lie, but it don't matter. Gang shit happens everywhere.
But thankfully survived, causing a lot of friction in Tottenham. A few months afterwards, an MPK member who went by the name of KY and his friend took a trip near the Broadwater Farm Estate. When they reached, they spotted an OFB member called Six and his friend sitting down on a bench. KY approached Six while he was sitting down and the two started to argue. KY grabbed Six's phone from him, which resulted in Six slapping KY in his face. Afterwards, KY brought out a large knife from his trousers, stabbing Six 3 times and then sadly, Six didn't survive the attack, and mobile tracking caught KY in the act, resulting in him getting caught and sentenced to 19 years. Throughout the last few years, there's been numerous back and forth situations between the two groups, and with both areas being so close together, causing paths to cross all too often. Unfortunately, more situations more than likely will carry on happening. It's been your boy Kid Nerd, and peace out.
Hey man, love your Kid Nerd, man. Listen. So who are y'all choosing right now between them? OFB or NPK? Like, who won that? Who's really up right now? Like, who y'all think, man? Let me know in the comments. This is the video again. Shout out to Kid Nerd. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, make sure you post notifications on. Alright, listen, man. We gonna keep dropping daily. Make sure you go get that T-shirt and shit. Anything you want me to react to, drop right in the comments. I got y'all. Until then, though, I'm out of here.